to touch back on, like, you're not that good at this. Like, I think really it's all of our responsibilities in this life to find out what we're really meant to do. Because we're not, I mean, like, I am so just crap at so many things, but I'm exceptional at other stuff. So like, I'm just so glad and grateful that I found what I am good at.
You are now listening to the Savage Marketer Podcast with Jeff J. Hunter. Are you ready for a show with no fluff, no BS, and savage marketing strategies from the best in the game? Then it's time to join the community at savagemarketer.com and gear up for another podcast episode. Here's your host, Jeff J. Hunter.
All right, Savages, I'm very excited to bring to you today Max Randolph. The title of this podcast is How a Creative Blacksmith Doubled His Prices After Going Viral on Social Media. And by the way, reluctantly going on social media.
Yeah, drug kicking and screaming.
So first off, I got to tell you guys, this guy is awesome. And the way I found him is because, much like me, he did something awesome and created something awesome. And now I have to give you all the credit, by the way. I never created something. I bought something awesome and it went viral. You create stuff that goes viral, right? So
yeah, I do my best, you know?
So some of the stuff that's really mind-blowing to me, though, is that you are more than just a blacksmith. You're more than just an artist. You're more than just an engineer. You're really a combination of the three. And also, I think you have such a, like, you're the kind of guy I just like to go have a beer with, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, come on, let's do this. I'm so excited to be able to do that again. God.
I want to share with you guys a video. For those of you that are just listening in on the podcast, I will describe what the hell you're listening to right now, okay? But this guy creates some of the coolest things you've ever seen. And the funniest part is that we're going to talk into it, is that all he did was set up a camera, his phone, in a horribly lit position, aiming at him working on a project, posted it on social media, and he's got, get ready for this, over 1.5 million likes. And he has almost 200,000 followers on TikTok. His Instagram's blowing up. His inbox is going crazy. And today, if there's one thing you're going to get out of this, it's why it's important to be present on social media. And by the way, this is the perfect case study that if he can do it, anyone can do it. Because literally this guy, he does month-long projects, multi-month-long projects, huge blacksmithy, steel, iron, like metal and crazy contraptions of sorts. And it's not easy to ship anywhere. Let's talk about this. Before we go anywhere, I just want to know, who is Max? How the hell did you become blacksmith? Like, was this a dream of yours? Like, did you grow up saying, I want to create a Hobbit door?
It's kind of a funny, I don't know, like there was never like a cognizant choice ever made. It was just following one step at a time. It was kind of a trip how it all worked out. So my entire life, I was always creating. I mean, I was insatiable as a kid. I was bouncing off the walls. You couldn't pull me out of trees. I was a hurricane, but I was always drawing. I had to be creating. And if I wasn't creating, I'd have like a full blown meltdown. And, I started with wood. That was kind of fun. But then when I was probably in my early teens, preteens, about 12, I learned how to weld. And from a neighbor, I started building barbecues and stuff like that, barbecue pits, smokers, because that's kind of what I grew up with. And then I realized, like, holy crap, if I get this hot, I can make it any shape I could imagine. And for me, whatever I could imagine, it was a lot. And So I started to get into blacksmithing. Well, it turns out my aunt is kind of our family chronicler, you know? And she's like, well, you do realize like your great-grandfather, your great-great-grandfather, like 5 times, they're all blacksmiths, right? I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? It blew my mind. So I did some family research. I tracked down my great-grandfather's anvil. So I'm technically a 5th generation blacksmith, but it skipped a couple of generations because of the death of the trade. And it's been a really cool adventure revitalizing that, but in really cool, imaginative, brutally honest ways.
So for those of you that are listening in on this podcast, I encourage you to go over to the Savage Marketers Facebook group. Okay, just go to savagemarketer.com and put your name and email in there. It'll send you a link over to the group, because I want you guys to visualize this. It's going to be so hard to visualize this, but I'm going to show the video and then I'm going to explain to people that are just listening, because I'd say 70% of my viewership is just listeners.
Sure.
Which is a damn shame, because you are one sexy beast.
Shut up.
I'm just going to describe this man. I mean, this guy looks like the sexy version of Santa Claus, included probably the sexy dwarf from The Hobbit.
Get out of here.
And then put together the elf. It starts with an L. What's the guy?
Legolas.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Say it again.
Yeah, you're talking about Thorin, Oakenshield, and Legolas.
Oh, Thor and Legolas. Yes.
Oh, Thorin, Oakenshield from The Hobbit.
Yes.
Get out of here. I can't take
That's
this.
That's it. Mix them together. That's what this stud looks like right now. He's got a beautiful beard and long hair, and it's curly, and I'm jealous. All right.
Shut up.
All right. So I'm going to show you guys this monster smoker that he's making, okay? And I want you guys to visualize this. I'm going to share it. There's a little bit of audio, a little bit of music that goes with it, but I want you guys to visualize this as well. I'm going to describe what this is afterwards. Here we go. We're going to share the screen. And then you can explain how the hell this even happened. Ready? All right. So that, my friends, for those of you that are just listening in, was literally a monster smoker. Like, this thing looks like it was designed by Van Helsing.
Oh, totally.
It does look like something out of like the 1600s, like medieval, like if the medieval smoker. Is that fair to say? That's
pretty spot on there, bud. Yeah, they had a really constrained, like if I was able to go crazy with an untold budget, actually, I mean, I could take it even further, but I kind of tried to maximize what their bang for their buck. That thing is 4,000 pounds, and I wanted to be able to fit, like, you can have like probably 3 full hogs in there at least.
Wow.
I wanted it to be oversized. You get that thing started early in the morning, and then they smoke their own pastrami's in there. They do briskets, huge racks of ribs. It's crazy, but
and what a cool. And here's what's cool, Max. This is not just like going down to Home Depot or wherever and just like getting something and building it or whatever. Like, this is like some serious artwork. Like, this is this is why I had to have you on the show. Like, this is savage. This is literally the definition of savage marketing, because not only you get to make amazing things for people that now this company, I'm assuming you made this for what, a barbecue place or something like that?
Yeah, it's like a roadside restaurant.
Roadside restaurant. So now this is going to be a piece, a marketing piece for them that they're going to be able to stick on the road, and people are going to see this friggin' looks like a contraption that like a torture device from a movie.
Yeah, it's totally like Wild Wild West. You know, it's a slash of steampunk. It's a little bit of like Western culture. You know, big industry. You know, big rhythmic gangs and banding. You know, you nailed it. And it is right on right on Vineyard and 46 West, which is hugely trafficked. And it's just billowing with this beautiful, fragrant smoke. And yeah, people flock to it. Like, what the hell is going on in there? You know,
that is savage.
Yeah.
And what's beautiful about it too is like, this is now a business driver for them. Sure, they invested a lot of money in getting this built from you, but now this is, and what's beautiful is you get a piece done by Max, and this stuff's going viral on his TikTok. And now, like for me, I was thinking like, where the hell is this place? You know, like and there's so many opportunities, Max, and you haven't even gone there yet, bro. But like from a marketer perspective, like, you know, think about the projects. Like you remember Orange County Choppers, right? Like people would buy those Orange County Chopper. Why? Because they want to advertise their business on the show.
Right.
So now you're at a point to where 200,000 followers, 1.5 million likes. So just doing business with you gives them clout.
That's a really good point. And it's funny because as an artist, it's really difficult to be business minded, because for me, it's incredibly easy coming in with ideas and building them. I mean, it's like anybody can do it. But I'm starting to realize, no, that's not the case. So, you know, being that, you know, marketing minded and, you know, actually like capitalizing on the gifts and things like that, like, yeah, I'm very new to the conversation and the principle of it all.
Well, I'm definitely going to be sharing my 2 cents with you on Instagram or whatever. That's for damn sure. Because I mean, I see just from a marketing perspective, I'm like, oh my God. So I know you had a chance to check me out, but for those of you who are just tuning in, I've got about 3 million likes on TikTok so far. Of course, Max, I had a head start on you. Max has only been on TikTok for like 2 months. But like I started like, I want to say August of last year. And I went viral. I was the most viral video on TikTok September 2nd and September 3rd.
It's amazing.
I had like over 100 million views across TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. And what's interesting was technically, yes, I did build it, but it was someone else. I bought it and then I put it together and I made a video of this awesome gaming chair. And I just shoot videos of me playing in the chair and I make funny comments. And, you know, even one of like, I'm having huge brands reach out to me like Sour Patch Kids. I had Sour Patch Kids say, hey, where do you keep your Sour Patch Kids? So then I made a video with a bunch of Sour Patch Kids and I made it funny. Like I saw the comment and then like I fell asleep and then I had a dream that I was just smothered in Sour Patch Kids, and I had all these bags of I went to the dollar store, bought like 1 million bags of Sour Patch Kids, and then I posted a video and I tagged them, and then they commented back and said, "This dude is living the dream," right?
That's awesome.
To have that type of brand recognition, right?
Well, and then just following, you know, the path of least resistance, like you're saying, is like, oh, they made a comment. Okay, I'm gonna do something about it. I'm gonna be proactive about it, and then you do it, and all of a sudden, this new opportunity pops up. It's, I don't know, like try not to force anything, but just kind of following the trends, I guess.
And see, that's the thing, because I'll be straight with you. I've had people pay me to make videos for them. And sometimes it's really hard for me to get the views on it because like, it's not an authentic, like it's paid, man. You know,
people can feel the honesty, man.
Yes. And like, I didn't get paid for the Sour Patch Kids one. It did well because I did it because it was funny. And also I want to be collaborating with big brands, right? So it gives me brand credibility. So this is a perfect tie into the next conversation, which is the bold promise that I made on the title of this is we're going to learn how you were able to double your prices after going viral on social media. So how did that's a perfect transition because beforehand you were doing jobs, you probably had referrals, you probably, you know, you were kicking and screaming coming to social media. You weren't really But you said your partner, what was your partner's name?
Casey, she's a kind of a marketing wizard. That's what she does for a living. And she's like, you need to get on Instagram. You need to start posting, do stories, all this stuff. And it's like, oh God, like my brain is already so full of what I'm building, what I'm working on. I didn't think I had the time, the right temperament for it. And it's like, well, where do I even begin? But I just started small, and the Instagram grew, and got some of my biggest commissions from that. And when you're able to be booked out a year, you have a whole lot of power in picking and choosing who you want to work for, and also what do you want to work for in dollar amounts. Because I pretty much work for like an hourly rate is what makes sense to me. Like I like to do time and material because it's fair for everybody. But now, you got that kind of like
probably not anymore, my friend.
Yeah.
Probably, I know that I just saw the realization. For those of you that are listening to the podcast, I wish you could see his eyes when he said that he thinks that time and materials is fair for everyone. I wish you could see his own self-doubt when he said that. Because I will tell you right now, Max, I think you're at the point now to where, so I want to be straight with you. The reason why I wanted to have you on the show, I definitely want to put myself in the queue for something badass with you. But secondly, I know personally, because of what I've done with someone else, I know that your business is going to be explosive and you're going to do amazing things. And I just want to say, I know you, man. I'm honored. But
yeah, come on, man. Thank you.
I have a sign that you can't see because I have the screen behind me right now, but I have a badass sign. It's a Savage Marketer sign. I gave the logo to someone, and he's an artist that I found on TikTok and Instagram. And by the way, at that time, he maybe had like 10,000 followers. Now he's got like 1 million, but I'm exaggerating. Probably has at least 200,000 though, like you.
That's a lot.
When I first saw him and I said, yeah, I want to get a badass sign. I'm like, what's the biggest sign you can make? Because he does some hand painted signs.
Cool.
And he usually does like barbershops and stuff. And he started getting some visibility for making a bunch of these cool ass barber sign shops. And I said, hey, look, I got a podcast, Savage Marketer, and I'd love to create a sign. Why don't we do something about it? He goes, okay. And then he actually came back to me before I paid him and came up with an idea of like the shield, like a badass like shield. It's a Savage Marketer to hang on my wall. He goes, what do you think about that? I was like, dude, I'm sold. And he's like, I'm like, how much? And he's like, well, how big do you want it? I'm like, the biggest one you can make. He's like, okay, well then I guess instead of using because usually he does like aluminum signs or whatever, but he's right. I'm like, I don't care about the cost. I said, I want it to be the coolest. And he's like, oh, well, what if I custom carved it in wood? I'm like, yeah, dude, let's do it. Custom carved wood, hand painted. How much? And he's like, well, it's kind of pricey with shipping. It's going to be like $210. And in my head, I'm thinking $210. This guy does not know what he's worth, right?
No, yeah.
So this is what I'm saying. Right now, this is a great place. And I hope all of you guys are listening because this is the power of the brand. This is the power of the brand. I talk about the power of the brand all the time, but your brand is such a huge part of how you do marketing. Because if you have an amazing brand and people already know you, and this is what I wish we recorded our conversation before the call. I always do this. But
it's okay, man.
We had a great talk, and I'd love for you to finish this out because this is the key. You just heard him. He has a huge wait list for working with him now on his projects. He's now able to charge more and select what he's going to do. And it's from the sounds of it, from his eyes rolling earlier, he's probably going to even change his pricing model.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be a project-based type thing, plus time and materials, but.
As long as everything's covered, it's so easy to undervalue yourself when you yourself view it as something. It's just so easy, or honestly, a lot of self-worth. That's a struggle to get over. A lot of us, I think most people have some hurdles of self-worth to kind of get over. And charging what you're worth, that is a journey.
I think we have just uncovered the true topic of this podcast about self-worth.
Oh yeah, I love that. Yes,
because and I don't know if you are willing to be transparent, but I'd love to know, like in the beginning, before you kind of had the fame, like what were you charging?
Oh man, like so the way that I was able to build a clientele, build a portfolio, was pretty much working for free, almost paying to do my work, because I couldn't have chosen a more expensive medium as an artist unless I was like sculpting gold, you know. Because like each piece cost me thousands and thousands of dollars in steel and materials and gases and stuff. But yeah, giving stuff away. I remember like driving. I remember like there's a very vivid memory of driving. I worked until it was probably 9 o'clock on an installation, this really beautiful Art Nouveau. So the places that I work in are immaculate. These are mansions. These are multi-millionaires. And then they'll beat you up over, like you said, like a couple $100, and it's so demoralizing. And I remember being like probably 23, and I've already been doing it for almost 10 years out at that point. And I remember in my old 78 Ford, just like trying to just bawling my eyeballs out on the way back, because I overdrew my bank account to try to get gas in my truck, and I got hammered down on the price, and I finally faltered for pretty much what it cost me to build it. I had the check in my truck. It was I worked until it was like 9 o'clock, and I just remember just trying to get home on empty, you know. So it's just like being so many times totally, utterly broken, and never wanting to go back to that. Like that was really, really difficult. But it teaches you a lot of humility. There's a lot of artists out there that think, you know, they walk on gold. You know, it's just like there's got to be a balance. You know, you have to have that humility. But I'm really happy now to finally, and I haven't mastered it yet, but to finally start charging my worth. And that's a difficult one for everybody. You know, I don't care who you are.
This right here is something that I struggle with even. Like, you know, it's crazy. I just had this conversation with my team. So I have a company. I have 100 almost 20 people that work for me.
Wow.
And I just raised my prices. It's the first time in 2 years. I just raised my prices yesterday. And
you have to chase it, because everything's getting expensive, you know.
You know, and I think this is really helpful for everybody listening in, because there is a right time to know when it's time to raise your prices. And I figured this out over the years, and I've always raised my prices when these two things connect. And it's funny because you've already said these two things. One is when you have a wait list. When you have more demand than you have supply, it's just capitalism, stupid, supply and demand, right?
Totally.
Like the more demand you've got, you know, the higher the price, right? So if you've got a wait list for your products, like right now for my company, we have a virtual staffing agency. We have clients that are paying us 3 weeks in advance. They're paying us knowing that we're not going to even give them a staff for 3 weeks. So that's when I knew, you know, because the cool part is when you raise your prices for everyone listening, it actually pushes away the cheapskates you don't want to work with anyway.
Ring a ding ding, buddy. You nailed it. Exactly. The people that are going to beat you up and beat you down about price, all that stuff, they're warded off, because man, you don't need that anymore. Because it is so unhealthy just for your heart and your soul to be crushed by somebody else's perception of what you're worth. And especially if it's very minuscule. Surround yourself by people that value you, you know?
Absolutely. And the second thing that, obviously the wait list is good, but I think the second thing is when you're at a point to where, like, you know, in deep down your heart, and by the way, the reason why this came second is because this is kind of like a contestant on American Idol. You know, it doesn't matter how much you want it, how much you try, if the judges say you suck, you suck. Right?
I mean, yeah.
So I want to give that disclaimer before I do number 2, because a lot of people think that they're good at what they do, right? So the second part,
that's brutal.
It's true though, man. Hey, listen to this. I'm not going to say her name. I had a girl that worked for me once, and she was actually one of my leadership team. And she was really smart, and she really had great work ethic. But there were some things that she just really sucked at. There really was. And it's funny because there was actually a role within my company I was going to create, and she kind of raised her hand like, "Hey, look, I'm really good at this, and I'd like to take it on." And I said, "Hey, I hate to tell you this, but I don't think you're the right fit for this job." All right. So with that said, my number 2 is that when you start getting recognized as an expert in your field, and people are tagging you on social media, they're referring you a lot. When you start feeling the traction of, hey, people are sending me a lot of people, that's because you have built a trust in your field. That's because you've built clout in your field. And that's when you can do it. Because see, the only difference, it's funny because I think everyone knows someone like this, Max, and I don't know, maybe you don't, but I've experienced this many times in my life. People that I know, and this is going to sound maybe egotistical, but people that I know that I do much better work and have more experience than, but they're making more money than me, right? Like when you have that experience, it's because they're established. It's because people know them. It's usually because they built a good brand. So once you have brand recognition and you have a queue, that's your sign to start raising your price.
100%. Absolutely. You said it very well. Yeah. And just to touch back on, like, you're not that good at this. Like, I think really it's all of our responsibilities in this life to find out what we're really meant to do. Because we're not, I mean, like, I am so just crap at so many things, but I'm exceptional at other stuff. So like, I'm just so glad and grateful that I found what I am good at. And, I don't remember, I don't know if you mentioned her name, but just, you really needed to urge her along her way to find out what she's actually good at and what she might be passionate about.
You know what? She actually got really mad at me because I said, I actually used that. And I said, well, I don't think that you're the best fit for the role. And she goes, no, I'm really good at this. I've been waiting. I want this so bad. And I said, well, you know what? There's a lot of American Idol contestants that want that really bad too.
You're a brutal bastard.
I am. She did quit eventually. Anyway.
My goodness.
I still love her. But
so Savage is right. Yeah, Savage.
I want to wrap this up, but in closing, what I want to do is I want to give a couple takeaways, and I'd love for you to take it over. I want to ask you a question. If there's anyone out there, like, everyone has their business, they've all got their hustle, whatever it is, like, what's the one piece of advice? Because especially since you kind of claimed your fame on social media and clout now, like, if someone's hesitant, if they're kicking and screaming to go on Instagram and social media like you were, like, what would you say to them?
Whoa, that's a good one, bud. Yeah, let me start. Where do I even begin? Yeah, so I had to be drugged by my closest friends, my buddies, my beer drinking buddies. They were like, you need to start a YouTube, you need to do all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, I know. I just didn't have time, or I didn't set the time aside. But it finally took Casey, my partner. She's just like, no, you're going to do this. And I'm like, okay. And I thought it was a space for narcissism, for self-absorption. And I couldn't be more wrong. It is sharing what you have that people really do want to see. And once I realized that you can share a bit of positivity. Like in my case, I'm very passionate about cultivating a little subculture, this little biome of community around inspiration, creativity, all that stuff. And I'm able to cultivate this little community. And oh my goodness, like, A, it's great for the business, but B, be able to communicate worldwide is just something so deeply rewarding. But like, it seems very daunting at first, but the best thing I could give advice to is to just get started. Make a crap post. With like TikTok, I had 2 posts for like a month. and they didn't do anything. It was just a terrible couple posts, and I was just kind of experimenting with it, but just get it out there, get it going. And then one went viral, and then now I'm learning what people like to see. I'm cultivating, skewing my lens a little bit to what the audience is desiring. Just get out there, don't dip your toes and just jump in.
Oh, that's beautiful. And you know what, Max, to piggyback on that, guys, what he just said, when you post something and it doesn't get any traction, it's daunting. It hurts. And like, especially for our own egos, we're like, damn, I thought that would land better,
Well, and back to self-worth, it's like, am I not good enough? Don't you love me?
And that's funny, because I was just going to go back to my TikTok and look, because it's funny. I have, for those of you listening, I have 3 million likes now on my TikTok, right?
Dude!
And which is stupid if you think about it. And it's funny because here's the thing, guys. It only takes one. That's what he said earlier, right? It only takes one. And here's the crazy part of it all. The video that went viral for me, which I still, it's funny that this worked out, especially because it was right around the George Floyd time. And there was a person who made a TikTok account named The Real George Floyd after he was already killed.
Oh my.
And the comment was about my computer rig, which I openly tell people it would cost about 13 grand to build. And, with the computer monitor and the gaming computer alone was like 4,700. Then the screen was 1,200, and the thing from China was 4,500. And,
crazy.
Put it all together and it's like 13 grand. And I posted a video of it, which, by the way, the video of it only got like 10,000 views on TikTok, which, by the way, if you're on TikTok, that's a low number, right? So
yeah.
I got 10,000 views. I was happy about the 10,000 views. But what happened that went viral was somebody made a comment on that video and said, imagine spending $10,000 and still having a bad setup. Like, he was being rude. Like, imagine if somebody went to one of your videos and like, imagine spending $10,000 on a smoker and it's still bad, right?
Totally. Well, yeah, some people, man, like I'm really grateful that I don't attract a whole lot of hate. I try to really pour out the love and the positive vibes, all that good stuff. But there's been a couple where just so snotty. You're like, I couldn't imagine someone saying that to my face. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't imagine someone having that genuine response to somebody putting themselves out there.
So how I combated that troll was by doing what I call the counter troll.
What'd you do?
What I did was I shot a video of me in my gaming chair, and I'm on the computer, and all I'm doing is reclining. I'm just doing the recline on it. And I found an audio clip on there that was used by a guy. A guy was walking around his hallway, and it said this. Here's what it said. And this is a trick for those of you that want to go on TikTok and you don't know what to do. The beautiful thing, and I think you know this, Max, the beautiful thing about TikTok is you don't even have to come up with ideas. You can just take other people's ideas and run with it. So what I did, there was a guy who maybe had 100,000 views on a video, and it was funny. And his video said, it's nice living on your own and having adult money. But the problem with having adult money is that you buy stuff you don't need. You buy shit like this. And he puts his phone camera up, and it's a shower curtain with a dinosaur riding a unicycle, and it says the word above it, bitches.
Yes.
Completely random, right? And in my head, I said, that would totally work for my gaming rig. I have adult money. I spend it on stupid things like this.
Totally.
So here it is. I have his comment up that says, imagine spending $10,000 with a bad gaming and still having a bad rig. And for those of you who are just tuning in, I'll actually show this video to you guys.
Please. Yeah, I got to see this. I didn't see this one. How funny.
I actually made my own little page on my website dedicated to it. Can you see it?
Yeah, I got you, buddy.
So there's the gaming rig, and of course, I've made a lot of affiliate money on Amazon for it too, because these are all affiliate links to go there.
So cool.
But this is the video right here. See that? Imagine spending $10K and having a bad setup. This is it right here.
Don't get me wrong. Being an adult and living on your own is pretty great. The only problem is that I now have access to adult money, which means I can buy whatever I want, which means I end up buying shit like this. Don't get me wrong.
Did you see that?
I love it. Well, and you know, like when life gives you lemons, man, just ride that out. Have a cocktail. That's awesome.
And if you didn't notice, that video alone, okay, I've got 3 million likes on my account. That one video alone has 2 million likes.
It's silly. It's
Right?
silly.
It only takes one. It only takes
one. So yeah, like we were kind of touching on that, is like, don't stress what you're putting out there. Because honestly, you're going to learn. One thing you got to look forward to, you're going to learn no matter what people like. And you never know what's going to grab their attention. It's usually something silly. Like for me, it was that lock.
Yeah.
And it was so funny too, because I posted, you know, the hand cut Gearworks, all that lock that locks those 18-foot oak doors. You know, I posted that on my Instagram, like a story, like something very just toss it out to a story. And then Casey was like, you need to post that on your TikTok. Like, no, you know, there's no context. No way. That's what blew up. That's the thing that got me, 100,000 in a week, followers. And that's just, you just never know.
That's exactly it. So the point is, guys, just do it. It's kind of like the Nike logo. Just do it.
Yeah.
And put yourself out there, and don't be worried about the quality of the content. As a matter of fact, mine was just a phone set up on a tripod. I've got on Amazon $12. It's an iPhone tripod.
Yeah.
And I put it up and I aimed it. And you could even see, I don't know if you saw the expressions on my face, but I literally had like a sarcastic, like.
No, I love it. Yeah, like King Louis or something like that.
I don't give a damn, right?
Yeah.
And of course, it was one of those videos. That was the one I had. Steel Series Gaming comment on my video. I had the Sour Patch Kids comment on my gaming. On my gaming chair. I had all these like professional brands comment on my video, and I had. Now I'm curious to see how many shares I've got. But this is the key, guys. The key, just so you know, because, and by the way, maybe your business doesn't do well on TikTok. This is applicable to whatever the hell you want, whatever you're doing. That's the key. You got to find what works for you. But check this out, guys. My video was shared 148,000 times. Shared. That's dumb.
It's ridiculous. It's awesome though. I never realized just truly how vast TikTok is as a I thought it was for silly kids doing dances. That's what I thought TikTok was. And then I got into it and I was like, wow, there's really awesome social justice commenters. There's awesome. Oh my gosh, all the science TikTok, all that stuff. Like, it's just super, super cool. So there's something there. Everyone has a voice there. There's people that will love what you have to offer, no matter what. It's so vast.
This is the perfect line to close out. Everyone is on there that is on there. So if you're not on there, then you're not. So I would say Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn. Like, I just launched a campaign for a client yesterday. His name's Bob Prosen. The guy is like a legendary businessman and speaker. And I told him, I said, because he wants to do Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I'm like, dude, no, you should be on LinkedIn. Like, he's a coach to CEOs. He knows all the CEOs. Like, that's where you got to be. So my advice to anyone listening here, make sure that you actually fit what works for you. And like Max said, TikTok, he thought was a bunch of kids dancing. So did I, by the way.
Yeah, I mean,
and now he's got 200,000 followers, right? So I would say put yourself out there, make your stuff intentional. And by the way, you're not going to get savage marketing results if you're doing things average.
love it.
All right.
Love
So
that.
for those of you that are already who are not subscribed to the podcast, make sure to go to savagemarketer.com. Go ahead and put your name and email in there. Click that little subscribe button next to the Apple logo or the Stitcher or Google Podcast, which is what I use because I'm an Android guy, or whatever it is. Make sure to head over to the Facebook group Savage Marketers. Come on in. You're going to see how beautiful this man is and some of his artwork. And until next time, everybody, stay savage.
Thank you for listening to the Savage Marketer Podcast. Join the Savage Marketer community today to get exclusive access to Jeff J. Hunter and his guests, as well as more Savage Marketer strategies. Log on to savagemarketer.com and subscribe today for more episodes.